think I always made the comment that once a miller, always a miller.
Ravel, ambitious, but brilliant! I don't believe it! I swear I do not believe it! Good heavens, he's done it again! Another promotion for the big man.
I've got 12 bottles of champagne in my office and we're going to drink them all night.
Do me a favour, drop me off in Rotherham.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to New York Talk. This is the Rotherham United podcast. Thank you all for being with us. It's preview show time. We've had the most important break of the season so far, and football gets back underway on Tuesday evening with Lincoln City coming to New York Stadium on Tuesday. When it's not the Christmas period yet, but it kind of gets underway. That these it's a hectic run. This next month or so is a really busy month. And could be very important for the season ahead. We'll just talk about the Lincoln game initially, though, and all the Millers news, which there's a few bits to cover. Mick's back. How is Mick doing?
All good, mate. Thank you. All good. Been a rubbish sporting weekend, really, hasn't it? Grand Prix were rubbish. Liverpool won. It's just. At least we didn't lose. That's the main thing.
Yeah, there is that. Rotherham didn't ruin anybody's weekend this weekend, which is nice. Makes a change. Don't get used to it though. No, we're going to ruin your midweek instead. Joy's back. How are you doing, Joy?
I'm very good, thank you.
Excellent.
I mean, I think perhaps maybe we shouldn't play every weekend, and then we know we won't lose.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Unbeaten since last weekend. So
yeah, exactly. We're on a run.
Tom's back. How's Tom doing?
Yeah, good. Doing good. Looking forward to Tuesday. Woo.
Said nobody in Rotherham. Danny's back. How are you doing, Danny?
I'm doing all right. I'm just recovering from a bit of illness, but thankfully I've got a Rotherham win on Tuesday to look forward to.
Oh, bit of illness. Is that what you get? Did you get Steve Evans to write you a sick note like you did for all his players, or no?
No, I think the sickness is Rotherham United's camp, if I'm being honest.
I think Danny's obviously delirious. He's got delirium, hasn't he?
Yeah. Martin Holland's with us, as is Neil Jordan. YouTuber says, good evening, one and all. He's still here then. Yep, for a while, yeah. Scott Kent says, evening, lads. It's been a great weekend without the Millers ruining it. The Millers 66 says, good evening, everybody. Decided to go to Parkgate yesterday, and there was more fight and passion and entertainment in one game than we've seen all season with us. Kelly Bobbs saying I've seen Parkgate always put in a good shift. Yeah. Steve Gundy, Richard, Chris Page, John Morell's with us. They're in the third round, I think. Did Birmingham end up winning? They were winning. John will tell us. Yeah. Danny's illness must make him delusional. Correct. Yes, we put on the Discord if anyone wants to start us off with some questions today. So we got Power Mad with a heap of questions. But Mick, this one's for you.
Why me?
Because he's aimed at you. He says, does Mick really want Steve Evans to leave? Who will he rant about when he's not here? And that's a good question, I think.
Yeah.
Well, I've never, in all my years, found a shortage of things or people to rant about. I've got to be honest. I don't. Do I want him to leave? I think we've had this conversation a few times, haven't we? The issue with him leaving, well, we know what the issue is with him leaving is that nobody else will take jobs. So I want it to change. I want him to stop talking. Please stop talking. Somebody get hold of him and stop him talking and saying stuff. And then just get on with your job. That's all after. I'll be happy with that.
Yeah. Yeah, good luck with that. You're like you've got caught Danny's delirium if you think that's going to happen.
Yeah.
Shell Stone says, I don't think we've lost at home in November. And I think that Shell's right. Although when was the Cheltenham game? Or league, she's put league. So I think she's right. I don't think we have lost at home in November. I don't think we've played in November at home.
I would say, well, we found a positive.
Just a technicality. Joy, it's been a little while since you've been with us, so just give us kind of where with Rotherham United at the minute. It's obviously been a tough season so far. Not much positive vibes. Just talk where you are at the minute with your thoughts and feelings with the club.
Well, I think I've said this before, and I'm definitely going to do it. I think by deed poll, then change my name to Mona. Because I mean, I'm a bit of a Scrooge when it comes to Christmas, but I'm actually looking forward to it this year because I think it's going to deliver far more than what Rotherham have recently. And I mean, like, I'm with you, Mick. I mean, I think we're you're the Mr. Meldrew, perhaps I'm Mrs. Meldrew of Rotherham United. You know, why don't you just button it and get on with the job in hand? I think we're all just getting a wee bit fed up with it all, aren't we? To be brutally honest. I mean, we've had like 2 and a bit years of this now. End. Time out, please. Time out.
Yeah, exactly. Let's touch on Steve Evans and saying things because he's done another thing.
He said, what did Steve Evans say this week?
Yeah. For advertising, this is great because they get people looking at the stuff and it's content, which is great. Which is great for Paul Davis, great for the advertiser. But honestly, I can't believe somebody's not stopped Steve Evans talking in press. He said to Paul Davis, "Well, this is what Paul Davis. I don't know. He said it. He talked about the chances he's given and the pressure on himself. I suppose I'll read you the quote from Paul Davis' article. He says, Steve Evans says, the difference between me walking back in here in April and any other manager coming in is that they would have got time. Even if Liam had stayed, he would have got time. Third person reference. Get ready. There's no time for Steve Evans because he brings expectations as soon as he walks through the door."
That's on the bingo card. Mentions himself in the third person.
Yeah, third person. Tick. There's no Sir Alex Ferguson reference in this article, sadly, so you can't take that one off. Tom, that's just lies. It's just nonsense. Steve Evans has got more time than anybody since Steve Evans.
Yeah. I honestly think I don't think he's lying. I think he honestly believes that. And I think that's worse than him trying to lie and pretend that that's the truth. Because I think he genuinely believes that any other manager would be given like 3 or 4 or 5 seasons, which is just false. And I think he genuinely believes that he's, you know, I don't know, actually. I read that and just thought and got bored and turned it and stopped reading it, basically. I think it's so farcical, and like Harry said before, there's the other one is, you know, it's great news. The players now know what they're doing. As he said, you know, previously they had no clue, but now he's got the old Evans, traditional Evans head on. They now know what they're doing. I mean, Liam Richardson would have been gone for that Barnsley game, for that Peterborough second half.
I think it'd have been gone for the Birmingham game. If the results had stayed the same, if everything the same had happened, I think that 2-0 laying down of Birmingham, I think it would have gone then. Yeah, no,
very true. I think Richardson had a big. I mean, you've spoken about it a lot, Matt, about how he got thrust into a situation which was unfair. Did the best with what he could. Wasn't great, but you know, give him a rebuild, and he got messed around, and it would have been interesting to see where we would have been under him. But if the results had stayed the same and he was still here by now, under the same results that we've had, I mean, everyone would be calling for his head, and I think it would have been a very, very reasonable suggestion. I just think it's absolutely farcical what he said there, and it's just him living in his own little world again. So yeah, I don't know what sort of expectations he has on himself, but you know, definitely hasn't met nearly any of them that even we set, and we didn't set a very high bar for him. So you know, we'll see. It's just stop talking.
I wish he would.
Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, I think we should rename this particular podcast the Delusioned Podcast, because he's deluded, isn't he?
Yeah.
You know, he's totally. Is he a bit of a narcissist? Do we think? Because we're always talking in the third person. I mean, who does that?
A narcissist.
Yeah.
There's a very, very obvious flaw in that quote. A very obvious flaw that none of you have picked up on at the moment.
Okay.
If Liam Richardson would have been given time, Steve Evans wouldn't even be here.
That's true.
So, I mean, what he's saying basically is that anybody else, Liam Richardson, would have been given time. So I assume Liam Richardson must still be here then, being given the time, because he weren't given the time; he was sacked.
Yeah, all right, yeah, got you. Okay,
right, yeah, no, I see what you're
I'm with you. It took me a minute.
Yeah, no, I had no clue what you were going on about then until the last bit.
More delusion.
Yeah, if Richardson had been given the time,
he would still be here. Yeah.
Evans won.
Yeah, that's
So
true.
it's absolute nonsense. Absolute nonsense.
Well, yeah, no, that's actually a very fair point, because that just shows that even Evans knows he's in on a favour and he's not in on, well, however.
Just, I, like I said right at the very beginning, somebody somewhere needs to get hold of him and say, just please stop talking.
Yeah.
When you're in a hole, stop digging.
Yeah.
And he doesn't, does he? He just keeps digging and digging and digging. And I think it's Paula who said this in the comments here. Let's let me find it. He is literally like the Donald Trump of football. That comment about two of the senior players have come up to me and said, now we know what we're doing. That should have come, that's straight out the Donald Trump playbook. It really is, absolutely. He's just constantly searching for validation for what he does, and nobody's giving it him because what he's doing is crap, and so he's giving it himself. That's where we are with this. Because I would wager a month's wages on the fact that nobody has come up to him and said, "Oh, thanks for that, Gaffer. Now you're shouting at us. We know what we're doing." That didn't happen.
We'll go on to that. We'll go on to the separate article, which again shouldn't have talked about. But anyway, we'll go through some comments. Harry's saying that he thinks we should have gone Barnes again. Oh, yeah. But if he would have been given that time, he would have gone after the Barnes again. Yeah, there's a good chance he would have gone before. John Morrell said, I mean, the thing that I find most baffling, he makes himself seem like some kind of pet character. The bloke is always average at best. He did another Man City reference, didn't he, in this week as well?
They've lost today, so we have another few this week.
Yeah, when we lose on Tuesday, they'll be, Pep lost 5 in a row, whatever it is. So when we lose 5 in a row, something like that.
It's a bit different with it being Premier League and European competition to League Bloody One, though, isn't it?
It's sort of different. I think, yeah, you're right. RUFC _K said, I don't think this would happen under Liam, quite frankly.
I actually agree with that. Yeah, I really agree with that.
And this is another point, Danny. Cheryl says, unfortunately for Steve Evans, he sets the level of expectations by telling us he's challenging for automatic promotion. And that's, again, the stupid thing. If you want to lower the expectations at your club on yourself, stop talking to us about promotion. When he instantly walked through the door, almost instantly started talking about promotion.
Well it's like when
expectations, you said it.
Exactly. I mean, it's like when me and you went to the fan forum, Matt. You were chiming on like a canary about getting promotion and automatics and wanting to take the fans back to Wembley and this, that, and other. So that sort of plays into why this season's so disappointing. Like, don't get me wrong, it's disappointing on the football pitch. It's disappointing the number of points we have. It's disappointing the position we are in the league. But it's also disappointing because he hyped it up so much in post and pre-season that we thought we were going to be up there straight away, and we're 19th. And I don't care how much he compares it to his first season and went, at this point we were 13th. That's like comparing apples and oranges. In that season in League Two, we were 13th at this point in the season with no overarching expectation of going up. If we finished strong and in the playoffs, we would have been happy in that season. But this season, we wanted to be top 6, challenging throughout the whole season, effectively in the same sort of position as Birmingham are right now. but we're not, and we've been let down by it. We've been let down by Evans, by his hype, and we've been let down by Stewart as well. We've just been let down all over the place. And, you know, if he wants to kick the can down the road and keep us going, he needs to improve his football or he needs to go. But like Kelly Bobbs has just said in there, they hyped everything up to sell tickets. Exactly. We were all going to get a free pint at Cutler's if we got to 7,000.
Oh, yeah.
But just enough of us saw through all the hype crap and didn't quite get there. Because we'd all enjoyed our free pints off Victor's bag for actually being a decent footballer. And is his tribute to the fans to say, "Ta-ra, oh no, I'll only buy you a pint if you get to 7,000 season tickets. You give me something in return." It's like my granddad. My granddad goes, "Oh, I'll only do that for you if you do this for me first." No, that's not how the world works. So it's just frustrating. Every single thing that comes out of Steve Evans' mouth, which is why I agree with Mick and Joy, he just needs to shut up and work on improving the team on the football pitch. And if he can't do that, he should go and be a spokesperson for Trump's campaign in America, because they are very similar people.
He couldn't be a spokesman for somebody else like that, because he needs to be more important than that. If not, he wouldn't be important of spokesman.
Although, if we say Donald Trump's like Tony Stewart, Steve Evans could be his hype man.
Yeah, possibly. Yeah, the other article, Mick, was the one where Tony Stewart told Steve Evans to go back to the old ways. What I would say to that is, if you think that's going to work, you're obviously well within your right to try something different. You're a manager, you need to try different things, this, that, and the other, that's fine. But those players aren't playing for him at the minute. They're not. Yeah, you can blame the players or blame Evans. You can do it, that's fine. But those players are not playing for him right now. When somebody's not doing what you want them to do, from my experience, shouting at them is not going to then improve the situation. It's got somehow, and I don't know how, it's going to make it worse.
No.
So going back to the... Is he lying that Tony Stewart's saying that, do you think? Or do you think he's just talking again when somebody should be just putting a sock in it? Again, it's just a stupid thing. It just feels like another stupid thing to say.
Yeah, it is. That's precisely what it is. You know, when I read that, it took me a while to process what I'd read, because it was like, oh, hang on a minute. That's how you are anyway. We've all seen you. We can see you. You know, there are 10,000 people in a stadium on a Saturday afternoon when we play. We can see you. You know, we've all got eyes, which he seems to think we haven't, because we obviously don't see performances, but we can see the way you behave. So that hasn't changed. The only thing that's changed, and this is not a dig in any way, is that he's not up and down touchline like he was before.
Yeah.
You know, he occasionally stands up and screams and balls at everybody, or he does it from his seat now. That's the only difference. There is no other change. So to suggest for a minute that any of these behavior and performances changed on training ground is I'm not buying that. I'm not buying that. It was a bizarre thing to say, and you're absolutely right. You know, if you've got a team that are devoid in confidence, that are struggling with understanding what they're supposed to be doing and understanding how to put it into practice, the absolute worst possible thing you can be doing is to scream and bawl and shout and be aggressive to them, like is what he was alluding to. You know, how he was previously. I cannot believe for 1 minute that he's coming here and been all sunshine and roses and cuddly. That ain't happened. I'm not buying that one for a second. So, again, it just seems like you quite rightly pointed out at the very beginning of this, somebody needs to say, please shut up. Stop talking.
Yeah.
Bizarre.
Yeah. We've got lots of comments. Kelly Pub says it's to sell tickets. Obviously, what's been said and whatnot. Steve Evans in charge and Mick talking riddle. What a time to be alive. Yeah, Nick, it's all right going back to as always, but just listen to what the players had to say about him back then. Well, I'd love to know what players said back to him, to be honest with you. Let me play Devil's Advocate here, Joy, because I listened to Radio Chef on Black Days last week, and one of the fans ringing up and kind of complaining about Steve Evans talking at the pre-season actions, predictions and whatnot. And Rob Staten kind of came back to him and said, well, is it not better that managers come out and talk like that? You know, is it really better that you got Liam Richardson? He didn't name Liam Richardson, Matt Taylor, but you got really better that you got managers talking in riddles and cliches. Is this not better than that? I don't think it is. But what's your take on that?
He's a dinosaur. He's past it. You know, that comment, if it is true from Mr. Stewart, I think I take it with a pinch of salt, to be brutally honest. Yeah. What do you want to go back to? 2014? The world's moved on. Football's moved on. We don't play like we did in 2014. Even at the lower levels, yeah, we're not as good at passing it out from the back. But you look, even some of those FA Cup games today, you know, what was I watching today? Solihull Moors, they weren't bad on the ball. They were better than us. They had a plan. They knew, you know, to find a player for a start. I think, you know, I think the type of manager that Steve Evans is, their day has gone. I mean, I'm a manager. I mean, retired now, but I've been a manager all my life. And the way you get something out of people is to be giving and taking, to be supportive, to be there for them if they need you. I'm not saying mollycoddle them. I'm not saying micromanage them either, or being, you know, leave them to do their own things. You've got to have that fine line, that balance of being able to be there, to be supportive, to offer what you need to offer in order for a delivery of what's expected. I mean, that's basic management skills, isn't it? In whatever job you do. And I would imagine it's even more so in football. It's just having appropriate people skills. And if you don't respect your players, which it sounds like he doesn't, because all he does is poke them if they don't perform. I mean, look at Cameron Humphreys. I mean, we all got him down as one of the players of the season. He's a shadow of his former self. And why would he not be? You know, because every game is being compared to an 8-year-old.
Yeah.
It's dealing with human beings, you know, not kids in the playground. And I think you pointed out it before, like what the 2014 lads said as well. And I think a lot of them now look back at him and laugh at him because he's a dinosaur.
Yeah. I mean, we spoke to Kerry Arneson in the interview. I still you should go listen because Kerry Arneson's wonderful. But one of the things he kind of talked about was it was a more of surviving Steve Evans. It wasn't, you didn't enjoy the training. You didn't necessarily enjoy anything about it, but you united against the manager. And if that's how you're successful, that's not sustainable. That's not going to work every single time. You've got to, I think he got lucky with the personalities that he brought in. But anyway, that's, you know. Steve says the interviews are no better as it's not believable. Yeah, something to finish up on this, Tom. Something we've always advocated is communication from the club. When there was the 4-week wait for Liam last year, that's something we were hugely critical of the club, or there was lack of communication. But it's got to be useful information. It's got to be constructive. It's got to be positive. It's got to be information, and not just a 62-year-old bloke mutterings about a club that he quite likes. And Steve's right. It's just kind of bump. And this information he's given us it's not good communication, is what I would say. And he could be giving us good communication. He's just choosing not to.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you said it before about Taylor and Richardson speaking in riddles and sort of like jumping around the point. Evans just fluffs it up completely, and it's that inevitable talk of and what gets me is the whole talk of. I mean, you referenced it before when a couple of players apparently went to him and said, "Oh, we know what to do now, Gaffer," and this and that and the other, and constantly mentioning how certain players are reacting to him and, you know, calling out others and saying others don't stick. It's just all a load of, I mean, it's a load of crap that needs to stay within the dressing room for a start. And as soon as it gets, I mean, it's always a case of as soon as inside information gets to the press is when it starts to become more, you know, you can see that something's wrong with it from an internal perspective. So just on that basis alone, with all the sort of, I mean, ever since that Leyton Orient interview, everything that he said from then on has been just awful. I mean, a lot of it is awful, and it's always, you know, trying to fluff up the situation and trying to, you know, make himself out as the best person. You know, we've seen countless interviews about that, starting with Exeter to Leyton Orient to recent ones. But I mean, yeah, it's just there's not much more to say other than he just fluffs up everything that he says. Every little aspect of his life is getting fluffed up, from mentioning that he sees 10 Rotherham fans a day because he goes to fill up his car every day and telling him how brilliant he is, to then mentioning about how we lost but he got the decision right with the keeper, to then doing a 25-minute interview talking about himself, to then talking about now the players understand, and 3 or 4 of them come up and say, yeah, Gaffer, we're standing side by side with you, and all this. It's just, like, honestly, it's not believable. It's just every time you read it, you just go, well, either it didn't happen or it didn't happen the way that you're saying it. And I understand that that's what the not believable instance is, but it's worse than not believable. It's not like I'm reading it and going, I can see it. You just completely go, it's unfathomable that any of it would potentially happen. So Harry's just put in, has anyone thrown a season ticket at him? Because apparently that happened as well.
That's my favourite story that you can't keep straight, by the way. First of all, it was tearing up his season ticket, and then we pointed out that season tickets are plastic, and suddenly he's changed it to, oh, actually, he threw his season ticket at me.
It's ridiculous. Yeah, it's just ridiculous garbage constantly, isn't it? It's just absolute. Yeah, I mean, yeah, unbelievable. You know, it's you just read it and laugh. Genuinely, I get enjoyment out of his interviews now, because I read them and go, they're quite funny. They're genuinely quite funny, because, you know, and I disassociate from the club whenever I read his stuff. I just think, well, this can't be what I support. I can't support this guy. And then you kind of take a step back and go, oh wait, no, I do.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember Paul Davis put some out. I just dread it, because I've just got. There's gonna be a quote in there that's just nonsense, isn't there? Yeah, just I'm not going to go. I'm going to wrap up with Evan stuff in a minute. I just want to point out that Evan said that this break after the Crawley game was the most important one of the season. He obviously has now said that Tony Stewart's told him to change his methods partway through the period. So I don't know. There's something not adding up there. That's, you know.
And now apparently December's do or die. What's that for? Saving our season or saving your job, mate?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. It's tough, isn't it? It's tough to talk about this, to be honest with you. John, I just mentioned it. John Morrell says about Birmingham from a Birmingham outside point of view, which is always helpful to us. He says, not once has the Birmingham manager said we will win the league or we should win the league. If anything, it's constant message in the press. It will be extremely difficult. You've got to manage pressure on the squad, and I would add to himself, exactly. You've got to manage. Part of your job as a manager is to manage the pressure, not bring pressure on yourself.
Yeah, I was just about to say, any good manager doesn't say our objective is to win the league this season, because it just falls flat on its face. I mean, Evans likes to compare us to the Premier League, so I'm going to do the same. Sorry about this, mate, but Liverpool are currently sat pretty at top of the table. Not once has Arne Slot said, oh, we're going to win the league or win the Champions League. He just takes it game by game and gets on with it, as I'm sure the Birmingham manager does. But like you've just correctly said there, Matt, at the start of the season, he already put all of this pressure on himself, and now suddenly it's not working out. Of course, everybody's going to be annoyed at him. You know, because it's like, well, you said we'd be doing this, and it's but because you're not doing that, then you know where's the problem? It's quite clearly you and your management style. If he'd have come in and said, right, I want us to win the league, but we've had a bit of a crap showing of it last 2 years or so. Right, as he likes to spin the yarn with that in the advertiser as well. So we're going to concentrate game to game and rebuilding the club and get us back to the Championship, but not put a time scale on it. I think we all would have accepted that, but because he said we're going to do it this season, and with these December comments, that's how we're getting back to the playoffs. It's just like, no, because a very small percentage of Rotherham fans now believe we will finish anywhere near the playoffs. And I think Steve Evans is one of the few, probably 10 people, you could probably put them on a bus, the amount of people who believe we will get the playoffs now. And Steve Evans is probably driving the bus. And it's just like, no, just take it game to game, work on where the errors are occurring. If the errors are in defence, work on defence. But he doesn't think like that. Like Joy said earlier, he thinks like it's 2014 and football's vastly different from 10 years ago. But Steve Evans is stuck there. And God help us if he's going back to how he was in 2014. We will be in some serious trouble.
Yeah. There's a few other bits we could mention, but I think we'll save this for Thursday's episode because it'll still be here, no matter what. I just want to touch on the news of this train. This might not be relevant to anybody, but the training ground news or former training ground news, or no, the potential training ground that has now been sold, the Out of Compost site that we purchased in 20-something, has now allegedly been sold off for housing. Now, what I would say, the article that's quoted that has used the wrong spelling of centre. So I am dubious whether it's legitimate or not. But did anybody have anything to add on the formerly proposed training ground site now being sold for 160 houses, whatever the case is?
It was never a legitimate site anyway for a training ground, was it? Let's be fair. So it needed a huge amount of work doing to it. It was small, it was tiny. I don't think it fitted a football pitch in there and some buildings. So. Yeah, if he's got some land, if he owns some land and sold it, that's not to do with us.
Well, it depends who owns it and who bought it, doesn't it? Did the club buy it or did he buy it?
Well, either way, if the club bought it, that's some money into coffers. If Tony Stewart's bought it, it's got nothing to do with us, ultimately.
I've heard a few different things to do with that piece of land. I've heard some people say it was bought by ASD Lighting or like some holding company linked to them. And the plan was to build a training ground on it. But I've also heard the rumour that that piece of land was only bought to put pressure on the guys who own Roundwoods into renewing the lease so we could still carry on playing there. So I've heard all sorts of stories to do with that. But if you drive past that site in Brinsworth, isn't it? Yeah, if you drive past that site, it's got an even worse bank than Roundwood does. Flooding would have been atrocious there. If you think it were bad at Roundwood because it were draining off the top pitch, Brinsworth would have been even worse.
Well, don't forget, Danny, that the training pitches at Roundwood are now perfect.
Carpets.
Apologies. Yeah.
They've probably put carpet down instead of grass, knowing us.
Yeah. Ultimately, if that's the case, maybe they should start using them and do some practice on them.
Yeah. That's true, actually.
Just an option.
I don't like an AstroTurf burn to make a player, is there?
Yeah, we'll see in March how the training pitches have fared. I think that's judging them in December is probably not the best thing to do, is it? Right, Danny, let's move on to Tuesday night. Lincoln City come to town. How big a game is this for us and our season? Or is it just another Crawley game where it's important, but if we lose, nothing's going to change? Or do you feel like there's something bigger on it than just 3 points?
I mean, not to sound cliche like the previous managers were, apparently, but I think we're now at the point where every game is going to be a big game, to the point where every point will be important now, whether it's against Lincoln, Stockport, Birmingham, whoever. I think every point's now going to be important because we can use it to judge if we have actually improved or if we're just stuck like a broken record. Yeah. I do think Lincoln will be a nice test for us, just to gauge where we are in progression, because they're sitting okay in 9th at the minute with 7 wins, 5 draws and 5 losses with a positive goal difference. We can't say that. So yeah, it'll be a nice test to see how adrift we are from where we want to be, because Lincoln are sort of up there where I'd like us to be, like 9th looking upwards rather than 19th looking down. So if we get absolutely hammered by Lincoln, then I won't be surprised, but also disappointed. But I say this with every home game. I just want us to give them a game, and make it competitive, because the games we've won this season, 2 have been against 10 men. 1 was against Stevenage. I don't know how we managed that, looking back. And the other one was off Sam Nongbe's arse against the team who's bottom of the league. So it doesn't look good. But if we draw and we give them a game, I'm content with that. But if we lose in the same way that we did against Crawley, against Birmingham, against Exeter, against Wickham, any of those teams where we just sort of down tools and go back to plan A that isn't plan A because plan A hasn't worked, which is hoofball, then I'll just be more frustrated.
John from Birmingham, we've already played him, says, wasn't impressed with Lincoln when we played them. Many talked them up, but other than being strong on set pieces, they offer absolutely nothing.
Oh, we're screwed if they're strong on set pieces then.
Yeah. Yeah, Mick, so we've had about what is it, a 10-day break, something like that. Let me give you through this. If this was a normal manager, what would you be expecting? So you've had a poor start to the season. Manager has had one game in 3 weeks, essentially, is what we've had. So loads of time on the training ground. So going into Tuesday, what should we be expecting under normal? I think we should judge it on normal circumstances. So what should we be expecting from a team that's had loads of training time together against Lincoln? Are a decent team. They're organised, solid, and everything else. So this is, we're coming against an half-decent team. What should we be able to expect?
Well, number one on that list, a plan.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, you would expect to have a plan. How are we going to play? What formation are we going to play? How are we going to hurt the opposition? And a plan to do that. And then on number two on the list is that the players, the personnel on the pitch, know exactly what's expected of them to execute that plan. That's what I would expect. But I expected that in August. And I expected it in September and October and November. And I've not seen it yet. I'm sure it's there somewhere on a scrap of paper or a postage stamp or somewhere. I don't know. It's written down somewhere. But we've had essentially almost 4 weeks to get our together. So I would expect a massive improvement in performance. That's what I would expect. Whether we're going to get that, well, we know we're not going to get that. I don't even know why I instead whether. We're not going to get that clearly. But yeah, we've had time. We've absolutely had the time. If it's not been used productively, then you can blame the players all you want. But if that time has not been used productively, those 4 weeks we've had with one game only in that period, then that is down to the management team and coaching staff. It's got to be sorted out. So let's wait and see what happens on Tuesday night.
Yeah. Nick says he expects a hard-running, battling team, a performance as minimum. And to be fair, Joy, I don't think we as fans have that. That's what we want, really, because I think in general, if you work hard and you run for your teammates and everything else, the results tend to come. And I always think us as Rotherham fans, I've always been the case. If you work hard and do the basics right, we'll forgive you missed chances. We'll forgive you poor performance because you do kind of doing the basics right. So that would be, I think Nick's right. That's got to be the minimum for Tuesday, and especially with so many games close together going forward from now. That's what we've got to see. We've got to see that kind of effort level back to the minimum. Otherwise, we're in serious bother.
Well, this is it. This is what seems to be missing, isn't it? The passion and the effort that is the hallmark of a Rotherham team. We've not seen it at all. Well, maybe little glimpses, Peterborough first half possibly. But other than that, I mean, it's terrible, isn't it? When all you can literally focus on one half of football on the 1st of December. That's appalling.
Yeah.
And I mean, and the other thing you can see, if we don't put in a performance and, we turn out like we've been turning out this rubbish for the last X months, you know what the excuse is going to be? We haven't played a game for nearly 2 weeks. We're ring rusty.
Yeah.
There you go, Steve. Have it on me.
It's genuinely true.
I didn't even think of that, to be honest with you. Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right.
Mm.
Mark says set pieces will be a concern with 8-year-olds at the back. Yeah, absolutely. Kelly says, sorry, but the manager doesn't know how to manage, and the coach obviously can't coach. At least you would expect his little intensity. We see nothing. You got to wonder what they do on the training ground, how long they train for. You've got to question everything about where we are at the minute, especially if Tuesday goes kind of how we expect it to. Neil Jordan says, hoofball for 20 minutes, soak up pressure, hoofball, soak up pressure. They capitulate. And that's lost on Tuesday, yeah.
I mean, you know what's good? I mean, you've got a group of players who have got no confidence whatsoever in their abilities and skills. I mean, you know, there's a few in that team that, yeah, on paper, and we don't play on paper, as we always say, are not bad. You know, we've got some decent players. Not that we've seen any evidence of that, but, you know, when you're lacking in confidence, it's the same as anything else. You've got to build it up again. Yeah. You know, you might, like you say, one assumed when it squeaked in off a Nombe's backside that was that little bit of luck that we'd run with, but no, it didn't happen. You know, perhaps that's something that we may need to happen again. But again, when your manager's calling you out after every game, you do, why? What are you going to? I wouldn't bother if a manager talked to me like that. I'd think to you. You know, I'm still getting paid at end of week. We've all said that, haven't we? Every job we've had, we've all said it. Well, I still get paid at end of month.
That's right. Yeah, it's a good point. And this is a good point as well, Tom Paul. I mean, every team visiting New York will fancy their chances and be disappointed if they don't get at least a point. Yeah, we're at that stage of the season now where you start looking at home form and away form and just how you've gone so far. And Lincoln will be coming to New York saying the same, going, we can get at these. There's a team here. And so before the game's even started, Lincoln already started more confidence than we do. And that's a sign of the season so far. And that's what Steve Evans has got to battle against. He's now got to get us up to that level, which is tough.
Well, you never know. It might be that one manager in the top 6, whoever he spoke to, has said that, you know, if we had all our players, we'd be, you know, no, obviously that's, again, a load of crap. So I think honestly, you're right. Every team that every team that faces us home, away, wherever, is just going to know that we're in a state of turmoil with a manager that nobody really rates, with a team that's low on confidence, doesn't know how to play football. And by that, I mean tactically, doesn't know really how to play. And you'd want to get at them because what do we actually do as a club? If you try and pass it back through the back, put some pressure on us, capitulate immediately. All right, cool. So we'll go long. To who? To what? To what plan? No determination, no second balls, no trying to win it off, you know, flicks, tricks, you know, our only outlet. And like Joy said, it's so funny that December the 1st, and we've only talked about that one half of football about actually being anything positive.
To be fair, it weren't even a full half either.
No, it wasn't. It was the last 35 minutes. The first 15, 20 were awful. But I mean, yeah, it's just a case of whenever you think about playing us now, you think, right, let's keep Malik Wilkes quiet. Yeah. And they've got nothing. And so true. No set pieces, no organisation at the back, no threat going forward, no plan of attack, no midfield, no, you know, but you can go on and on and on. And we're not just saying this off of one really bad game and like we're always capitulating, you know. Again, this is the 1st of December. And it's been poor since the very start of the season against Exeter, and nothing has changed. Absolutely nothing has changed. So, yeah, I'm already a little bit worried about what he's going to say afterwards when we lose, because I think it could be very, very, very bad. And it'll just blame players. It will, like Joy said, it'll blame it on being rusty, not playing for 2 weeks. He'll blame other players. He'll blame everyone but himself. And that's just, you know, how it is now. And there's no individual player that I think will play. And if I see them starting, think, right, no, they'll be up for it. They'll have a decent game. There's not one single player, unlike previous years where we had bad spells. The main one being that those last 7 or 8 games of that League One season where we went up, It was a really tough spell. You know, you did think at some point we'll get through this because we had the players, we had the coaching staff, and the fans were still relatively on side. From what I remember of it. Part of me doesn't want to watch us on Tuesday. I just think it's going to be absolutely dreadful. And I saw someone saying that, I think it was John said in the comments before that, or was it that comment that you brought up about their man Chris Davis saying that this was a really tough league and stuff, and it's not. It's the worst league imaginable, and you'd absolutely lick your lips as a manager coming down into this league. Is the big emphasis on that, because you feel like you'd already have the resources, and to be where we are is genuinely quite lucky. It's quite lucky that we're not further down than where we are. Like, we can keep going on. We are out of the relegation zone by Nombe's arse, and that's it. So I'm not looking forward to Tuesday.
It's worth £1 million in its own, then, isn't it? Just for giving us that relegation zone.
One would say he's got the diamond arse, but yeah.
Mark says, "Wow, it ain't Tuesday yet, and I'm already depressed listening to this." Tell me about it, Mark.
So am I, actually.
Dan, let's talk about. I have a concern about Tuesday night in terms of how things will play out. We talked about how bad Barnes was atmosphere-wise. There's not many people there on Tuesday night. I encourage everybody to go. It's not me saying people don't go. I think if you've got season ticket, please go. Back the players and everything else. We're not one of those podcasts saying don't go, but the attendance will be quite low. And if they get an early goal, and if we kind of drop in performances, the atmosphere could be horrific. It could be toxic from when they get that early goal. The atmosphere is on the knife edge from the first minute this time, and that's doesn't happen very often. That I don't think. I really think there's a potential issue for it to get toxic really quickly.
Yeah, it certainly doesn't happen a lot in League One for us over recent years. Anyway, Championship, okay, but we were sort of always concerned we were going to concede first, and the game was done. Just because that's how we were in the Championship for a couple of seasons. But because we're not used to it in League One, that's why it's going to go toxic very quickly. If Lincoln score first and potentially do it the same way that Wrexham did, where they score in like the first 5 minutes or so, either the fans ultimately toxic and the team will get wholeheartedly booed off at half time, or the fans that do go just sack it off and go into concourse straight away. They might even go back to the pub after. But certainly the performances that we've shown on the pitch aren't giving some fans who haven't got season tickets any cause to actually buy a ticket and go and watch them. For example, I finished work at 6 on Tuesday, so I could make the game if I really wanted to. But I'm not having my Tuesday night going to watch that drivel. You know what I mean? I'd rather go home and get warm. And that's the point where we're at. Some people will just go, "No, I'm not fussed about the Rotherham game. We're playing rubbish." And a lot of season ticket holders. I mean, we had a season ticket holder in the comments earlier. I'm sorry, I've forgotten the name and lost your comment. Saying that they're not going to bother going because, again, why bother? There's nothing there to entertain us apart from one half of football at Peterborough. And again, it's Evans not living up to his promises. He said, "I want to play entertaining football." Well, where is it? So with that, fans will turn toxic very quickly because it's not what they were promised at the start of the season, and it's the same week in, week out. So I won't be surprised if the attendance is below 8,000. It's given the current state of attendances for us, that's low, below 8,000 for a league game. We're sort of bouncing around between 9 and 10 on a good day. So if it's below 8 and closer to 7, then that's a poor reflection on our football, in my opinion.
Yeah, fair enough. I'd love to do a comment saying they won't go. It's your prerogative. I'll be there getting really, really cold. We'll be doing the instant reaction in the freezing rain, possibly rain. I wouldn't miss a game for the world, even though we are garbage. I won't be missing a home game for the world. but each to their own, in it, I suppose. Let's go forward and make about sort of potential team news. We won't know. I suspect there'll be a press conference Monday, probably. We don't know, but I would expect there will be. The last update, and this is the big one, really. Malik Wilks is the big one, really. If Malik Wilks is back, we're in with a chance because he's got that spark. I sadly think it's as simple as that. Do you agree? Is Wilks back in? Is that a big boost, or is it not that big enough?
Yeah, I suppose it is. It has to be, doesn't it? Because of the way he's been playing, it has to be because of the influence he's had on results in the past this season so far. It shouldn't be because there are as good a players in this squad as Malik Wilks, arguably some better. But yeah, it's really important for us. It's really important to us that he's back because he's the only one that's given us a spark. So I'd be surprised. I'd be surprised if he comes straight back in, given that he's been out for 4 weeks plus with an injury. I'd be very surprised if he comes straight back in. I'd like to see him back in though, definitely.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's going to be a lottery, isn't it? It's going to be a lottery as to what how the team's going to line up. You know, is Clark Harris? Is he going to be fit enough to start? He started the last game. He didn't really pull up any trees. Is Nombe going to have trained well enough this week? You know, those sorts of things. I do say that slightly tongue in cheek, but you know what I mean. Yeah. You know, you just don't know. Really, almost in any position, who he's going to select. Maybe, arguably, that's one of the problems. You know, that there hasn't been a settled. I can't think of one position where we've had a settled player all season or for the bulk of the season.
No,
except some of its injuries. Powell, yeah, kind of.
He's played a lot. I mean, he's not been great, but he's played a lot.
He's played a lot in different positions, and you know, yeah. I'd like to see Wilks in because he is a game changer, particularly at this level. But other than that, who knows? Who knows? You know, the talk I've seen is that we're basically not a million miles off full strength now.
Yeah,
arguably McCart is back in contention, albeit I don't think the way that Jules has been playing, I don't think he's a shoo-in with that at all. So yeah, he's got a almost full strength squad to pick from, but Wilks has to be one of the first because of what he's done.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with Jimmy saying
or arguably because of what other people haven't done.
Yeah,
you know,
that's probably more accurate, isn't it?
Yeah,
yeah. Jimmy says Wilkes overrated. That may well be the case. He's still been best player this season for us. Yeah. Not consistently, nowhere near consistently, but he's been the only player that's had a spark and had something about him to actually almost take the game by the scruff of the neck, almost in certain occasions. When without him, since he's been missing, we've somehow looked worse, which is quite impressive.
Yeah.
Nick says on about Andre, agree Andre will boost. Not sure how far off game time he is though. Actually playing a league game. Yeah, he played 20 minutes in a behind closed doors friendly last week against Donny. I don't know, but I would guess the game against Tranmere next week on Tuesday will probably be a big game for Andre Green to tick off some minutes. Hopefully he can get. Obviously, Evans will go through exactly what it'll be. Getting some minutes into Andre Green, hopefully, will have a big impact on the season. Hopefully,
he'll end up playing in central defence.
Yeah,
wing back.
Yeah.
He's right footed, so we'll play him at left wing back.
Yeah. Well, we bought him as a left wing back.
Yeah, well, yeah. Natural. He's a natural left wing back. When we talk about how we're going to set up, Joy, I did an opposition show for the Lincoln podcast, the Stacey West podcast earlier, and they asked me how we were going to set up, and my answer was, I don't know, I ain't got a clue, because we set up 3 at back against Crawley and Bradford, and then at half-time Stephen chucked it in and went 4 at back. If you had to guess and had 45 or somewhere, do you think you'll see back to a 5-3-2 like we started against Crawley, back to a 4? Do you have any idea?
I honestly don't know. I think what Steve Evans does, I think he's got a big bag of runes. And what he does before the game is he gets these runes and he chucks them up in air and sees how they land. And that's the formation for that day. Because, I mean, that's as good an explanation as what he actually puts out, to be brutally honest, tongue-in-cheek as it is. Because he just, well, like we've said, there's no plan, there's square pegs in round holes. I mean, yeah, I know we've had a lot of injuries, etc. And I mean, some have held their own. I don't think Jules has done too bad since he came in, you know. And like we said, Wilkes. But then again, if you mark Wilkes out of the game, we're stuffed.
Yeah, we are.
And he doesn't always perform. You can't basically, you know, put it on one man who's not, you know, a whole team resting on the performance of one individual. That's ridiculous. And if that's the way we are, isn't that sad? That's just so sad. We're pathetic.
Yeah, it is. I agree. Andrew Lang says McCartan for Humphries. Evans clearly doesn't rate Humphries as a player, except expect to see him leave in January. Possibly Tom, but that's why I probably think if you give Evans a choice, he won't play 3 at back. I think he'll go Sean Raggett and Zach Jules, and Raffit is fit, and probably Reece James. If we play 3 at the back, McCartan won't be fit, I don't think, to play 90. So you'll have to play Cam Humphries. And why would he play Cam Humphries after what he said last time? It would be stupid to call him an 8-year-old defender and then start him in the next game. It'd be stupid to do it.
Yeah.
If you were Cam Humphries, why would you want to play?
Yeah.
Exactly. To be called an 8-year-old.
Yeah. Wouldn't also be the most stupid thing he's probably done this week. So.
Well, that's true.
You know. It's. Yeah, I mean, I agree with Joe. I couldn't care less who plays because they're all crap, basically. No. I mean, look, I don't honestly. No, I don't care what formation it is, as long as you're playing players where they think their natural position is and where they're going to get the best out of themselves. Then do it. I don't, you know, fair. The whole thing with 3 at the back. Yeah, I think 3 at the back would work perfectly. Do I think he'll play it? Maybe, but. My God, like he'll play Hacks at right wing back and Hungbo at left wing back, who've never done it before in their lives, and expect them to instantly get in and instantly understand the game and what he wants them to do. And then, as we've seen with the past 2 games, 20 minutes in, when it's not going his way, we're not losing, but it's not going his way, and we look okay. He'll throw his toys out the pram. Half time, he'll absolutely rage and change 3 or 4 players and call them all 8-year-olds and you know this is the modern Evans, by the way. So imagine, God forbid, what the traditional Evans is going to do when again it will inevitably happen. I just look, play 7 at the back. It doesn't matter as long as you can get the basics right of playing the players in the position that they actually want to play in. Let me rephrase that. Naturally know how to play in. You'll instantly see players playing better, and it's the same thing as Wilkes behind 2 strikers, or Nombe out, you know, or Clark Harris out left, or I don't know. There's been so many times this season where you look at a team and you go, why the hell are they playing there? They've never played there before in their lives. Why are they doing it now? And it's just because Evans doesn't know what he's doing. I think Steve said it in the comments before. Evans does have a tactic, and his tactic is change players, throw as many of them on as you can, throw as many strikers as you can. If it doesn't work, get rid of 6 of them and bring another 6 in January that might work. And that's all his tactic is. And it was 10 years ago, and it is now. I genuinely don't care anymore. I'll watch the game, but I couldn't care less, you know, who plays and what formation we do or what tactics we play, because it's just going to be dross again and again and again. And the only thing that changes is who we're playing and how much I look at them and go, they're crap, we should beat these. But then I go, no way, we're worse. How can we ever, you know, think that we're going to do better? And it's just it's a continuous cycle of play bad teams, watch a bad game, and then just keep going on. It's just it's a bit boring now. But hey ho, still watch it, and if we win, then Evans will probably no doubt call out this entire section of this entire episode as being like, God.
Yeah, as long as it's not name checkers.
When we win 7-0 on Tuesday.
So name check.
Tom, where are you? I'm going to come round and give you a big hug. All right.
No, I've locked myself away until Tuesday.
You're in a dark place, my man. You're in a dark place.
I know. It's horrible.
Can I put the question about, has anybody else heard Steve Evans doesn't tell players who's playing 90 minutes for kickoff? Yeah, that is true. Harry says it's because Sir Alex Ferguson used to do it, which is something he has said before. Honestly.
Does that mean Evans is going to start kicking football moves at players' heads because Alex Ferguson used to do it?
Yeah. I don't understand football sometimes. But the only upside of losing is no Steve Evans fist pumps.
Yes.
Can you imagine if we win and he does it? It's the most horrible, dirty 1-0.
Oh, no.
There's one fan who always replies with the no fatty fist pumps meme, and I can't remember which club he's a fan of. I think he's a Reading fan or something.
Yeah.
And when he replies to him, just go, yes, and we're happy about that. You might stop him doing it, but also give us a bit of a funny after a game. But again, that is Steve Evans. He does the fist pumps to take a claim for the win. He never lets the players have that moment, because he takes it off them straight away, but then criticises them when he doesn't win.
Yeah. Now you're getting it, Danny. Now you're getting it. Harry says 5 p.m. meet outside KCM for a group. KCM stand for a group hug to calm us all down. We'll do it post match, Harry. Post match, if we lose, we'll all get together.
Can we sing Old Lang Syne as well?
If you want. Does anyone else want to talk about team news? We're going to come over to predictions. And I think he's got anything team news or setups or style. Anything you want to pick up on?
He's got no more excuses. He's got no more excuses now. He said it all week.
You're underestimating Steve Evans.
No. But in regards to team selection and stuff, he has no excuses anymore because he's got all available players. Even Andre Green, who's not played for over a year, he could theoretically play him if he wanted. He's got absolutely no excuses in regards to squad. The only thing he'll come out and say that they're rusty because they haven't played in 2 weeks. But oh wait, they've played in a preseason equivalent behind closed doors game in midweek. They played last week in the cup. Blah 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 blah. And he'll still come up with another excuse. And I, for one, cannot wait to see what it is. Cannot wait.
Start pulling out the Jurgen Klopp exclusives like the grass was too green or something like that.
Like kick-off time.
Bright and dark. Too bright.
Yeah.
God.
Yeah, there we are. Right, let's move into the predictions because that's slightly interesting. Mick, I've got rid of the table, sadly. Oh, no, it's here. That changed it. I know it says after 15 games, but nobody scored after the 16th game. So yeah, Mick's still top couple of points. Danny and Joy fighting out for the mid-table. Ben's there. Kev is still valiantly going 3-0 every game to us. And he's still going 3-0.
He'll get it right one day.
He'll get it right. He absolutely will. I mean, I'll have to look at what last time we won 3-0. I bet it was ages ago. I'll have a look in a minute. Mike said at the start of the show, can't see us. Can anyone see us beating Lincoln? Well, we're about to find out. He can't. So we've got Ben has gone 1-0 to Lincoln. Kev has gone 3-0 to Rotherham. So we've got two different scorelines to start with. We've got some very different scorelines in the comments already. Joy, what do you reckon? Is this a turning point for the season or the same old, same old?
It's going to be the same old, same old. So if it's going to be the same old, I'll say 2-1 to us because that's what I've been saying all season. But it's more likely to be the other way around, 1-2 to them.
A blind faith prediction, 2-1.
I've given up. I don't know how I've got 7 points.
Okay. Danny, you're with Joy in the middle of the table. What's your prediction?
I mean, we fielded a strong side against Donny's reserves and still managed to concede a couple of goals, didn't we? So I'm going to say 2-1 to Lincoln.
Okay. Tom, 2 points off the top of the league in the predictions league.
Yeah,
what are you going to do?
Exactly same thoughts as Danny. 2-1 Lincoln. We're not anywhere, and they're one of the best teams that we played in recent weeks as well. So, well, based on form and position in the table and whatnot, I can't see us doing anything really. 2-1, yeah, 2-1 Lincoln. If not 2-0, 2-1.
Brilliant, Mick. Top of the league, extending your lead.
I've tried to be positive about the results on my predictions over recent weeks, giving us wins when I realistically knew that. I think we all knew that we weren't going to get them. And if you've come to me last because I was going to go 2-1 Lincoln, that was going to be my suggestion. I'm going to stick by that. I just don't see us winning the game. I mean, and like Tom's just said there, arguably, I'm not convinced that we'll score, but I think we might do. Well, I'm edging my bets on that one, so I'm going to go 2-1 Lincoln.
Okay.
I think a better prediction would be which body part is Sam Nombe going to score with?
Well, his hand. Therefore, it doesn't count.
Martin Rushfort's gone 3-1 to Plymouth to Lincoln. Noel Jordan's gone 1-0 to them. Steve's gone 1-0 to them. Fishman said 3-1 to them. Nick's gone 1-1. Russ says 4-0 to Lincoln. Can you imagine?
It's definitely a sackable offence.
They won't sack him. John Morell's shining light of positivity. He thinks we're going to win 2-1, same as Joy. Because somebody has to be positive.
You've said 3-0.
Palmard says 3-0 to Lincoln. Harry says 1-0 to them. Steve Gundy 3-1 to them. 1-0 says Martin Holland. Bricktop says 2-1 to Lincoln. Mike's gone 1-1. 3-1 to Lincoln from Scott Kent. 0-0 from Andrew Lang. Lincoln 3-0 by John Manns. David Carroll's gone 3-2 for Rotherham. David Carroll's predicting a blockbuster game. Gunbox saying 4-1 to them. Richard saying 2-0 and a toxic atmosphere. See, there's just Rotherham 0. I don't know. Well, I don't know what to say, to be honest with everybody. Thank you for being with us. Anything else we want to mention?
Oh God, no. Let's not, because the worry with this is that we're doing podcast after podcast, going round and round in the same circles, aren't we?
Yes.
And the issue with it is, and maybe I've just stumbled upon what Steve Evans is trying to do is to kill this podcast off. He just keeps talking.
You know what?
He's talking nonsense every week, and he realizes that both us and everybody who listens to it is going to get bored senseless eventually and just stop. Maybe that's his plan. I don't know.
That is an interesting theory. Probably wrong.
It's because we're the one media outlet he can't control.
Oh, Danny, you're trying to.
That's a dig, isn't it?
It's all very, very serious and important, and we're not.
Yeah. You're referring to us as a media outlet. We're just some idiots that talk about Rotherham.
I mean, we got nominated for an award. Steve Evans hasn't yet, so I'm more serious.
Yeah. Let's not concentrate on that, shall we? Too much on the basis that we're lost to a Wednesday podcast.
Yeah, let's not mention the Wednesday.
Harry says hopefully we'll see us on Wednesday, but whatever happens, it'll be Thursday. We're back Thursday. Harry's suggesting an emergency podcast. Can't see it. John Morell says, Mick, you can then concentrate on your car park podcast.
That's a good point, John. That's a good point. I've got quite a few plans in place. I'm already doing a bit of research on that. Find a lovely one at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. I'll tell you all about it.
Right, Ref Watch. Martin Holland correctly says Martin Woods is the referee, not the Martin Woods who used to play for us, unsurprisingly, back in 2000 and whatever it were. Not refereed us ever before. So, which is often, I think there seems to be a big intake of new referees since we were in League One last time, because a lot of these refs we've not had before. So let's hopefully find that. A couple of bits of stats. Tuesday will be the 100th game between Rotherham United and Lincoln in competitive competitions, apparently. And our record against them is brilliant. We've beaten Lincoln more than we've beaten any other team ever. I think we've beaten 50 or 51 times now.
Time to change it.
Yeah. Well, their record against us is something we normally find in the Championship. They've won once in 28 visits to Rotherham, which goes back, I think, to the 60s.
Stick on, innit? Stick on.
Yeah, twice in 29 now, I'm calling it.
Yeah. There we go. Oh, yeah. Martin Holland, yeah. Worth mentioning the Wycombe game, which should be on the 11th of January, which Sky moved to be on. Sky has now been moved again because Wycombe are through to the FA Cup third round. So we will have another break. To be fair to Steve, that break in January will be really, really important. It'll be more important than what we've just had. Nobody knows why, but it will be really, really important. We'll have a break in January. So that's good news for everybody. Anything else that we need to mention tonight?
No, I don't think so.
Wonderful news. I hope we've cheered people up tonight. I don't think we have. So I'm really sorry if anybody came looking for some positivity tonight, because all I can do is apologise. Blame Steve Evans. No, we'll not do that. We should finish by sending positive vibes to Matt Taylor. Yes. Obviously, there's some family emergency going on there. We obviously don't know what's going off, but hopefully everything resolves itself in a positive way. Matt Taylor was great for us on here. The podcast has kept us up as well. So he should be thought of positively, and more important things on football anyway when it comes to family as well. So hopefully everything gets going well for Matt Taylor. Thank you all for being with us tonight. Make sure you have subscribed on YouTube and give this video a thumbs up if you are watching live, or watching not live, give it a thumbs up as well and give it a like. If you are watching on X, make sure you have followed us on there and give the post a share or retweet or repost, whatever it's called nowadays. And we will, or if you're listening on iTunes and Spotify, make sure you use a 5-star rating and a comment wherever it allows you to do so as well. Mick, thank you. I'll see you on Tuesday night for the instant reaction.
I can't wait.
Can't
wait, honestly, mate. I don't know that I'm going to sleep between now and then.
Yeah. I get it. I completely get it.
Yeah.
Joy, it's been a pleasure to see you again.
Yeah, I can't wait for your instant reaction either.
Just imagine if we win, though. Just imagine.
Oh, we won't be able to contain yourselves, will you?
Absolutely not.
Running around that stadium.
Exactly. Tom, somebody is on their way to give you a hug quickly. We'll arrange it. Don't worry about that, mate.
Yeah, no, thank you. Thanks for the therapy, guys. People telling me I look more depressed after it than before it.
And Danny, thank you as always, mate. I'm not sending you a hug to somebody. You're a disease, so I hope you get better soon. Delirium leaves you soon.
Yeah. The delirium didn't take me as far as predicting a Rotherham win, so I'm all right.
That's true, actually. You must be getting better.
All I will say is that if we do win, it's might be the delirium talking. I'm expecting to see Mick doing cartwheels on the post-match.
Yeah.
We may need to get AI back up for
that. Danny's gone again.
Thank you all for being with us. We really do appreciate being with us every week. We will see you all next time. And as always, up the Millers.
Up the Millers.
I think I always made the comment that once a Miller, always a Miller.
Ravel, ambitious, but brilliant! I don't believe it! I swear I do not believe it! Good Evans, he's done it again. Another promotion for the big man.
I've got 12 bottles of champagne in my office, and we're going to drink them all night.
Do me a favor, drop me off in